Welcome everyone. In this session, we are going to set up our AI and machine learning workspace using Anaconda, Jupyter Notebook, and VS Code. We will focus on installing the tools, understanding the notebook interface, learning what kernels are, and getting familiar with VS Code. I will not go into Python concepts like functions or loops in this session because those will be covered in a separate Python session. I will also keep GitHub and GitHub Copilot for separate videos, so today our focus is on the setup for basic tools. Before we install anything, let us understand why these tools are important. Anaconda helps us manage Python and data science environments more easily. Jupyter Notebook is a great place to write notes and codes together. VS Code is a powerful editor that we can use for organizing our work and managing projects. Together, these tools help a beginner-friendly setup for learning AI and machine learning. Now let's start with Anaconda. I'm going to open the Anaconda download page and install the latest version available for my operating system. The link for the Anaconda will be in the description of the video. On the Anaconda website, I will download the individual edition, which is the most common choice for learners and beginners. After the download completes, I will run the installer and follow the default setup options. For this beginner setup, the default options are usually fine. After installation, I can open Anaconda Navigator. This gives me a visual way to access tools like Jupyter Notebook, Visual Studio, and other related applications. If you are using the command line later, you may also hear about the Anaconda prompt, but for now, I'm keeping this simple and visual. Now, I will open Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook is one of the most useful tools for beginners in data science because it lets us work in a document that contains both notes and code. I want to make one important point here. In this video, I'm not teaching Python programming itself. That will come in a separate session. Right now, I'm only showing how the tool works. Inside a notebook, we work with cells. There are two main cell types, code and markdown. Code cells are used for runnable code. Markdown cells are used for headings, explanations, and notes. This is what makes notebooks so useful for teaching, learning, and experimentation. Now, let's talk about kernels. A kernel is an engine that runs the notebook in the background. The notebook file itself is the document, but the kernel is what actually executes the code. If the wrong kernel is selected, your notebook may not behave as expected or it may not find the right packages. So it's important to know where the kernel is shown and how to change if needed. In this case, we have a Conda environment-based kernel. You can see the same kernel in the Anaconda platform in environments. Let us quickly look at notebook controls. At the top, you will see options to save the notebook, add cells, run cells, restart the kernel, and interrupt execution. These are main controls you will use again and again while working in a Jupyter notebook. Markdown is a simple way of formatting text inside notebook cells. You can use this for titles, for section headings, for bullet points, and short explanations. For example, instead of writing in plain text only, you can make your notebook cleaner and easier to read by adding headings and notes in Markdown cells. Now let's move to VS Code. VS Code is a code editor that is very useful for working on projects, organizing files, and managing your workflow. We are not using VS Code here to run notebooks inside it. I'm introducing this as a separate tool that you will use alongside a Jupyter notebook. When VS Code opens, there are a few areas you should know. On the left side, you have a sidebar. In the center, you have the editor area. At the bottom, you can open a terminal. These are the main parts that you will use more often. One of the strengths in VS Code is extensions. Extensions add additional features to the editor. For this setup, useful extensions include GitHub Copilot. I will not go deep into GitHub Copilot here because it will be covered in a separate session. Apart from GitHub Copilot, you have integration with Git, a file explorer, a search functionality, and a run and debug bar also integrated. Now, let us look at a few keyboard shortcuts. Ctrl plus Shift plus P. This opens the command palette. Ctrl plus B. This toggles the sidebar. Control and tilde. This opens the terminal. Shift and enter. Run the current cell and move to the next one. Control and enter. Run the current cell and stay in the same cell. Alt and enter. Run the current cell and insert a new cell below. A. Insert a cell above. B. Insert a cell below. M. Change the cell to a markdown. Y. Change the cell to a code. DD. Delete the selected cell. Z. Undo cell deletion. Ctrl Shift H. Show keyboard shortcuts. Before we close, here are a few best practices. Keep your files organized in folders. Use clear names for notebooks. Add explanations in markdown cells. And try to keep one project in one place. This will make your work easier to follow now and much easier to reuse later when starting more Python and working with GitHub. That brings us to the end of the setup session. We installed Anaconda, opened Jupyter Notebook, explained kernels, looked at notebook sections, and explored VS Code extensions and shortcuts. In the next session, I will cover Python concepts, GitHub, and GitHub Copilot separately. Thank you for watching.